G'day, Mr. Burton.
The Mango King. How are you, man?
I'm good, mate. Can't complain. Great and grateful. Not so
You're
bad.
never complaining. On that subject of find all the reasons why someone you wouldn't work with somebody. I'm not going to go into that with you today because that would probably take up the entire 20 minutes, mate. So we'll leave that. We'll leave that one to next. We'll leave that one to next time. But yeah, good to be here. How many Red Bulls are you in so far?
This is the first one, actually. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coffees so far.
Nice. But look, congratulations on the event so far. Some good high-level content. But I think the best thing for me so far has definitely been that waiting music while I was in the background. That Mango theme tune. Who's come up with that? Who's come up with the Mango theme tune and graphic? That's probably the best thing I've ever seen. And you should start offering that as a service to customers.
You should hear that we've got a hip hop one. ManyMangoes, many mangoes.
Yeah, mate. Behave. You've not got a hip hop ManyMangoes.
Yep.
Theme tune.
AI. All built by AI.
We need to start using that. But yeah, I did like it. I did like it.
I'm glad.
So,
thanks, Burton.
What do you want to talk about?
Mate, you and I, we know each other, but there are many people who don't know you. So before I jump into the practical stuff, I would love to just do a quick little intro on you, and if you could let us know why is it that you do what you do.
Why is it I do what I do? All right. So I'm part of an organization called The Point Co. We offer outsourced sales support and SDR as a service to technology companies across the world. We deliver campaigns out of Atlanta, Cancun, Makati, and London, and we have been doing that for the past 10 years. Thousands of SDRs trained, hundreds of campaigns delivered. Don't hit it out of the park every time, but we do a pretty good job, hence why we've been in existence for the past 10 years. We've used every tech under the sun, every script under the sun, every motivational tactic under the sun. So we've got a pretty good idea of what works, what doesn't work. So if we can't do it, probably not many can. So that's what we do. We do it for mainly high-ticket tech companies with ACVs of 50K and above. No butchers, bakers, or candlestick makers. And companies like Palo Alto Networks, FireEye, Cisco. The list goes on. And, we do a lot of sales training, put a lot of emphasis on development of young SDRs and outreach on the phone.
Got it. Amazing. All right. Well, look, I mean, we could talk for 2 hours about all the different sales tips and tricks and things that don't work. Why don't we talk about a couple that you really like? What are some of your favorite techniques that you've seen young SDRs use and create results from?
All right. Here's the deal on that one. I want to just phrase that a little bit differently, because no matter whether I've been doing training in Australia, Canada, South America, or the UK, the narrative remains the same. People always want to know what the silver bullet is. A little bit like what you're asking me. What's the top hit? What's the new stuff? What's the hints? What's the tips? What's the tricks? How am I going to hit my target? When the reality is, if you're an SDR and you're watching this, it's not what you don't know. It's what you don't do. It is what you don't do every time. Until you have an honest conversation with yourself and admit or assess, are you doing the basics well consistently or not? And if the answer is not, go back and look at that first before you start looking at what the next new shiny object is. That's going to have the biggest impact across your SDR team or your top of the funnel processes. Delivering the basics well consistently. And for me, the basics well consistently starts at data. Have you done enough analysis on your data? Do you have the right data that if you do outreach, you're actually going to speak to somebody? So work with best of breed data providers, work with people like ManyMangoes who can go and get you bespoke lists, which I believe you do, Isaac. Is that correct? You still do that? Yeah. Start with your data, because the next stage is delivery. If you've got spot on delivery, if your speed, your tone, your inflection's great, your pattern interrupt's great, your script's great, your offering's great, your closing's great, and all of the above, but your data's terrible, it's irrelevant. Can't speak to anybody. All right. So work with data providers, data scrapers, data professionals to give you what you need. But before you even get them into them asking what data should we call out? Sorry, what data do you have? Understand why do people buy from you, and why your customers stay as customers, and make sure your data is aligned to that stuff. Understand why people buy from you and why people don't. Make sure your data aligns to that. Don't try and boil the ocean. Make sure you've got some clean data. Delivery. Again, we've mentioned these things. Speed, tone, inflection, right? We've mentioned mastering of all the basic functionalities of an elevator pitch. I'd say 99% of SDRs don't currently do that. So how much time are you investing in role playing? Do you have an AI coach you can role play with? There's a lot of products out in the market. How much time are you investing learning from your peers? And then there's the activity. All right, last thing, data delivery activity. On the activity piece, do you know your conversions? Do you know how much outbound you need to do? How much outbound you've done historically to hit your number? Are you hitting those numbers daily, weekly, monthly? And if you're not, align that. So align those three things before you seek out the next shiny object. If you've aligned those three things and you're happy with the data you've got, you're happy with your delivery, and you're on point with your activity, then go out and start seeking the silver bullets. But not until then.
The juicy mangoes. Yeah. Awesome. So of all the campaigns that you've run, I guess it would be safe to say that the best ones would have those three done really well. Can we go over what's one of your favorite campaigns that you've run, and specifically why it was successful?
Well, we've got hundreds of campaigns, but if I just look at the characteristics that make up a successful ROI on a campaign, or a long ongoing campaign, it's the points I've mentioned. I mean, if you talk about Palo Alto Networks, back in the day when they entered the EMEA market, they understood why people would buy their product and who would buy their product, and their message and offer would be articulated so that the person understood why they should care, right? Why they should care. What was in it for them, and why they should care. So that was one of the keys to their success. They went out with velocity and sold a shitload of their product, right? Hence why they're one of the market leaders across the world for what they do. And the Point Company were a springboard for help launch them in EMEA. For every good campaign that we deliver, on the flip side, there's going to be hard campaigns. And if we look at the comparison between messaging, anything that's like a marketing-led message, like an advertisement, and you put that upon an SDR team to go to market with, generally fails. All right. And that can fail because the buyers, the personas you're reaching out to, don't really care about how great your company is, don't really care about how many awards you've won, and don't really care about all these clients that you've helped that are not them. They really care what's in it for them and why they should care, right? So if you can articulate the message and construct an offer around that, you're going to have better results on your outbound delivery. I mean, what do you think, Isaac? I mean, when you do a lot of outbound, when it comes to messaging, when it comes to different sorts of messaging, what are you seeing resonate?
The biggest thing that I see is that people, the biggest mistake I see is that people always want to talk about themselves, like you're saying. No one gives a crap about your awards. No one gives a crap about all the things that you've practiced. No one cares. If you can find more reasons to talk about them and what they want to talk about, that's what'll win, right? So find the article that they wrote, find the post they did, find the award they won, find the thing that's relevant for their industry, and have a genuine conversation. If you can't hold a conversation about what interests them, you'll never have a good relationship.
Mm-hmm. And my point around enabling the SDRs and enabling the campaigns, you've done a lot of training. I know you've lived in more places than I have across the world, and you've trained a large plethora of different people and different cultures. Have you, when you have gone into these engagements to do this training with the SDRs, has it generally been the problem that they thought? Has it generally been a sales training problem, or is it a delivery and management problem?
I say it's an attitude problem. It's the ability to wake up in the morning and go, look, I know I got to do it, and just bloody doing it, right? And so trying to find little things that make it easier for them, more fun, just doing it, just doing the thing. They know, most salespeople know what they need to do. They just don't have, they're just procrastinating and come out with a million reasons not to do it, right? It's not like a mystery. Oh, I don't know how to, we know what to do. We just don't have the attitude that makes it a habit.
So on that point, it's not what you don't do. Sorry, it's not what you don't know. It's what you don't do. That's sort of been my ethos. That's been my learning over the past 10 years. And I think if you're an SDR manager listening to this, or you're running an outbound campaign in an agency, before you start focusing on putting band-aids on stuff, like focus on the basics well consistently. But on your point of attitude, I missed that point out. That's how I onboard every campaign on day one, right? You need to really get your SDRs, your salespeople, bought into the impact on them of being successful, right? What does success look like to them? And what does it look like if they're not successful? What does it mean to them as personally? And if you can get them bought into that mindset and get them to run it as their own business, campaigns are generally more successful across the board than if they're just following benign orders.
Yeah, no, for sure. So what's new? So we're at July 1st, 2024, officially the second half of the year. What are the big moves we can expect from Steve Burton? What can people learn from you and the big moves you're going to be doing? What's going to happen for the rest of the year? What are your predictions?
Something we've been focusing on heavily since the start of the year, and I'd like your input on this, is the effects on AI, the effect AI is going to have on outbound, and whether it's something that people should be adopting now, or it's too early. But where the successes I'm seeing a lot of companies start looking at it for following up on MQLs, following up on events like this, following up on webinars, following up on web capture forms, following up on anything that traditionally an outbound SDR shouldn't really be doing, but it falls upon them as sort of low-hanging fruit to call and qualify. We're looking to start implementing that across the board for some of our customers, where we're going to be using AI voice to reach out to anything that's got some form of consent, getting it qualified and getting it in calendars in a timely manner. So that's something we're going to start rolling out. We think it's a bit too early for outbound at the moment, and obviously some problems around data legislation and legalities. But what are you seeing working in that space, Isaac, in terms of AI?
I don't trust it to be without human involvement just yet. I think that there's if the person is not aware that it's AI, like for example, commenting for email, for calling and stuff, I think that if you do it right and you position it as, hey, I'm an AI SDR, you submitted a form, like you were saying, follow-ups for MQLs and stuff, it'll be well received because you've submitted a request for whatever, and now you're getting the support that you need. This is actually what I wanted, right? I don't think it's ready for the AI SDR stuff yet, right? It's just not. It wouldn't do it. It doesn't do a good enough job. It's fun.
I just think it's fun. I just think it needs to improve the buying experience. Anywhere where it improves the buying experience, you're not going to get resistance. Anything where it's an interruption or it's creating friction in the buyer experience, I don't think it should be implemented just yet. So yeah, Point Company are going to be looking into that for anything with intent, right? And web capture forms. We believe we are top of the game when it comes to technology, but what we have found in the last 3 to 4 years, that sometimes adding technology on top of technology is sometimes, again, not the solution, because if you just accelerate bad behaviors, you're just going to get more bad behaviors. So I think we're going to double down and reinvest. My point I said at the start of the talk was making sure the people aligned to your campaign are doing the basics well consistently. We've got a good, we're strong in data, we're strong in delivery, and we do lots of activity, measured activity that enables us to get to the right people at the right time, right, with the right message. So that's what's moving the needle as far as I can see. And we deliver in one of the largest agencies in Europe. So if anyone's got a difference of opinion on that, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to listen to your views on what's going on.
Awesome. Very cool. So using the right tech for the right job at the right time, but keep the essentials, master the essentials before trying to get too fancy.
Look, man, there's nothing unless I can see something, unless I'm missing something. There's nothing that revolutionary out there, right? We've tried automation, we've tried multi-line dialers, we've tried human-assisted dialers to get through gatekeepers. We've tried email automation, LinkedIn automation. All of these things are great with the right behaviors, the right messaging, with the right product, with the human element. If you take that out of the equation, it's not going to work, right? So they're my tips. Be honest with yourself. Make sure that you've got the right messaging, the right behaviors, basics well done consistently before you start looking for excuses, silver bullets, or technology.
So on the note of silver bullets, is there one last mango or tip you can give to a sales exec? This is a serious mango, eh?
Hold on, mate. Do you just have like mangoes everywhere all around your house? And like,
I do.
Oh, there you go.
I actually have like 15, 20 or whatever. If you were a salesperson right now listening to this, what is one bit of advice that someone can apply today and get value from tomorrow?
If you're a salesperson, forget SDRs. If you're a salesperson in any level of the business, whether your enterprise do $1 million deals or you do mid-market 50K deals or whatever you're doing, commit to your pipeline. Commit to your pipeline and put in tasks that are going to that are revenue generating activities. I would say the number one issue my clients have across their sales teams, if we look at their day-to-day schedules, they're not putting enough time into revenue generating activities that are going to contribute to pipeline, that are going to contribute to sales. Less internal meetings, less meetings about meetings, and more proactive outbound, right, with your SDR. Don't rely on the most junior salesperson in the company to generate all the revenue for your company, right? Be invested, use them as work with them as a team, and be accountable for some portion of your pipeline yourself. Schedule it and commit to it. That's going to move the needle. Forget everything else. Forget, again, buying intent data, investing in more events. Have an honest, frank conversation with your manager, with yourself. How much time in your diary is invested to revenue generating activities? Adjust that accordingly, and you'll see impact. And that's what it's all about, right? All outbound is about impact. If you're not seeing the impact in the outbound, there's a problem. So go and adjust it accordingly. And the problem's always the basic stuff: mindset, time spent on outbound, your data, how you deliver, and the amount of activity. That's what all the problems are. Everything else is a nice to have or an add-on.
Amazing. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you and everything you do. Thank you for taking the time.